Hi, and welcome to your January 2025 Vedic Astrology update. Hi, I'm Prema, and I'm grateful that you're here with me. In this update, in this forecast, I am going to share with you the energy of the month and how you can best use this energy. It's an interesting start to the year as we still have a couple of retrograde planets, and you may be feeling like, oh, I want to set those intentions, but maybe you're not feeling quite clear yet on that, and that's totally fine. You're totally right, in the right place. There's still a lot that's shifting and changing. And with this month, though, we're going to start to have some clarity really drop in, especially after we get into about the halfway through the first week of the month. Anyway, tune in. I'm going to share all the details with you. Hi, I'm Prema. Thank you and for being here, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed or shared, I appreciate you doing that. Even a thumbs up or a comment just really helps so much. And if you haven't gotten one of your Sacred Wealth Code Archetypes, you can click the link down below in the description or in the comments to take the free quiz to find out what your Sacred Wealth Code Archetype is. And of course, you can get a whole reading, and all my reading links are down below, as well as my free Vedic chart calculator. So happy New Year. And we start this month with Venus in Aquarius. It's just moved in here on December 29th, and it's with Saturn. It'll be here for the whole month until January 27th. And Venus, which is our great artist, our great muse, and the connector in the Sacred Wealth Code Archetype system. And Venus is friends with Saturn, so they do very well together. And Saturn, of course, has been hunkering down in Aquarius for a couple of years now. Is going to move actually in March of 2025, but I'll get to all of that. And let's remember, Venus is our planet of beauty and like vitality and creative expression and love and relationship, luxury and wealth. But also, Venus can be a planet of attachment as well. Lots going on with Venus this year because it's going to be exalted in Pisces and stay there for 4 months. Again, I'll get to all of that too as well. But this sign of Aquarius is a place of a lot of innovation, and it's Saturn's sign, so it wants to build things to last. It wants to create, structure, and so it'll be doing that in our creative endeavors, in our relationships, and it also can bring in a deeper level of commitment in our relationships, or we want to take things a little more seriously. And because this is a Saturn-owned sign, Aquarius, we tend to build things for the long haul. Saturn wants us to stay in something that's purposeful and see it all the way through. And so your creative endeavors could be more focused around something that is going to be built to last, so to speak, or the foundation of something. Now, keep in mind, this is in general for all of us the 11th house of the chart, which is a house of financial gains. It's one of our wealth houses, but it's a relationship house. It deals with groups and communities and organizations. But for you personally, it is a particular house in your chart. It could be your 4th house of home. It could be your 10th house of career, your 9th house of divine purpose and higher knowledge. It just depends on your ascendant sign. So if you want to know that, use the free chart calculator, or if you already know your chart, great. And that will help you to take this and apply it more to that area of life. Mars is going to be aspecting Aquarius, and has been. And so it can bring in, Mars always likes to bring in a little bit of worry, a little bit of fear. So if you've got a little bit of that going on, that's something we've all been dealing with at some level, because Mars has been retrograde for a while now in Cancer. But always want to come back to asking yourself from the heart, like, what's really true for you? What's really true for worrying is like praying for what you don't want. So whatever we're thinking, whatever we're feeling, we're creating consciously or unconsciously. Worry is an unconscious way of creating, where we're literally pouring energy into something to turn out in a way that we don't want, but it hasn't happened yet. So just watch out for that worry, specifically around that area of your chart. And relationships, this is where it can really show up in relationships. And remember to have more patience with people. Okay. And that's always something that I want to say is a gift of generosity we can give ourselves and give others. Now, on January 3rd, Mars and Pluto are going to be in direct opposition. Pluto in Capricorn in Vedic astrology, Mars in Cancer in Vedic astrology. So just on that day, maybe the day before, day after, January 3rd, we may see power struggles, and we could see that more sort of collectively, but you might notice that just depending on how it's hitting you in your own life and with leaders in general. So not a great time to choose to be in an argument or a power struggle. Just avoid that day. Mercury, which is our great messenger, our great merchant, and our great communicator. And Mercury has been in a long sojourn through Scorpio, which has not been the easiest. Luckily, it's direct. It's not retrograde anymore. It went direct on December 15th, but it'll be in Sagittarius now from January 3rd through the 24th. And then it'll be moving to Capricorn, where it's happy in that place too. So with this Mercury energy, keep in mind, Mercury is our intellect. Mercury does rule something specific in your chart. Like, for instance, I'm a Virgo ascendant, so it's my ascendant sign. And Mercury, I'm a Mercury type person. We all have a Mercury in our chart. It means something in particular for you. If you want a reading, we can go into all of that, all this specifically for you and also for the year. And actually, I am running a special on my readings, 30% off on my personal readings for 2025, and the link is in the description for that. So, but understand with Mercury, it's our ability to judge things, and judge is not a bad thing. We all need to judge things. What I mean by that is, judging, what's right and judging other people if they're not believing what you are. I mean, that's not useful. But what I'm talking about a judgment is we do need to be able to evaluate things, judge one thing against another according to our own belief system to make the right choices for ourselves. So with it being in Scorpio, it's a very deeply emotional sign. It was retrograde there. Mercury's not so comfortable there. We could have gotten into some of our old beliefs and some stories that we've been telling ourselves that may or may not be true. And as we are going to have this in Sagittarius now, Mercury will be able to just have a lot more faith, a lot more hope, a lot more confidence, open up more to a higher vision, be able to quickly assess things. It was really pretty bogged down in Scorpio. And when we're quickly able to assess things, it's like we're discarding what doesn't fit, we're embracing what does, we're integrating our ideas. Jupiter rules this placement. Jupiter is in retrograde right now. That's our great sage, our great teacher, and our great visionary as well. And with that retrograde energy, the whole effect of Jupiter is definitely bogged down right now. That'll go direct in February, but it's a more expansive placement where Mercury can help us connect in with our vision, our hope, and this will help us set our intentions for the year. Mercury can help put the plan in place for our, like our boundaries, our self-care, the story that's useful to tell ourselves, not the one that's not useful, that's keeping us bogged down or keeping us stuck. This will be a good time to really focus on sort of coming back to the foundation of your self-care, even getting your calendar straight, some of that structure that we need that helps us to be able to flow easily in the day. We always are dealing with masculine and feminine energy, and we all, men or women, we all have masculine and feminine, and the feminine is more of that flow, that movement of life, and creativity, and the masculine is more of the structure, it's consciousness, but it's the structure and the direction of things. So we need to have that structure in order to be able to flow. And Mercury is going to help us to get that set straight and make some choices you haven't been able to make. And we'll be dealing with a lot of this shift and change of energy as we go into 2025, the first half of 2025, even the first few months of 2025, because we're going to have the eclipses move. In fact, every planet is going to move. The major planets are all going to move this year, and that's not always the case. Saturn will change signs, Jupiter will change signs, the nodes of the moon will change signs. I'm going to break all of that down, or if you're watching this afterwards, I broke all of that down in my 2025 forecast class called Divinely Aligned Forecast and Visioning for the New Year. And I do this class every year to really help you to successfully navigate the transits based on your chart, the energy that is coming, so you can plan, you can vision, keeping that in mind. And I have a very unique visioning process that helps us to really tap into what our soul is really wanting for us, and for us to have a way to align with that throughout the year, even though there's a lot of shifts and changes that are going to be coming. So I bring you the Vedic astrology forecast and a live workshop recorded with lifetime access, a visioning process that goes along with that. You get the planetary transits for your ascendant moon sign with all the shifts in what house they're going to affect for you. And I talk through updates for all the signs as well as a collective update. You get a beautiful cosmic planner in order to have all those dates and have all that information organized for you. And we do this beautiful visioning process. And of course you get your chart if you don't have it. And I'm offering that for just the holidays for half off. So it's only $55. The link is down below for that, for the visioning class, the forecast class. And it'll be on replay if you're watching this afterwards. It's going to be held live on January 3rd. And of course, my personal readings, as I said, are 30% off right now for the 2025 readings, and that link is down in the description below. So the full moon in Gemini in Punarvasu is on January 13th. Now, of course, the moon is our great nurturer. It's our great queen and the collaborator, which I'm not seeing right here, but it's here somewhere. It's at 29 degrees of Gemini on the 13th. Now, this full moon is one of several full moons from November all the way through April that we've had at the very last degree of the sign. So there's a lot of endings, a lot of completion of things, and we're not done with that yet. So I think in May, the moon moves to being at, full moon moves to being at 28 degrees. So we're this ending, this maturity, when things mature in the later degrees of a sign, of course, then they come into an end and then we move into the next sign. So there's a bit of a Sunday effect is what it's called when you're in between signs. So with the full moons, the energy of what's coming to fruition and also what we're healing, and I always hold the healing circles on the full moons for this reason, because it illuminates things that we aren't normally seeing, is it's this liminal place sort of in between the two energies, which is really interesting. So we're still shifting. A lot is shifting out and shifting in. So if you're not having total clarity, understand that is part of the energy right now. And the beautiful thing about not being clear, and I know it's annoying to not have the clarity you need because clarity is power. But where there really isn't clarity, if you can just relax from that, okay? And in relaxing from that, just let things be more general. And sometimes, like a foggy period of time, like when the fog comes in, you can't see everything. Sometimes that actually saves you from making choices that really weren't the best choices for you because the new opportunities hadn't quite opened up yet. So be patient with the places in life that are feeling just sort of foggy and not quite clear yet. Where you feel clarity, absolutely run with that. You're going to want to build a foundation and a structure, but then allow yourself to flow because there's still going to be a lot shifting and changing. I will be bringing you more resources to support you with all of this. The full moon here, I will do a full moon update, of course, but Purnavasu is known as the star of renewal, and it again is going to help us to kind of kickstart our intentions because it supports us in taking inspired action. Again, I'll bring you an update on all of that. The sun is going to transit Capricorn January 13th through February 12th, and it's been in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius it's helped us to renew. Great leader being here, the king, our hope, our faith, coming out of that Scorpio energy, and, help us to connect with a little bit more, vision as well. And Sagittarius is very much around our higher teachings, inspiration, and our higher purpose and having a sense of that. And so this will really help us to stay committed to our dreams and to our visions, even though there's going to be shifts and changes and hills and valleys that we can't see yet. Mars retrograde is going to enter Gemini on the January 21st. So we've had our engineer, very much the engineer in Cancer. It's also represented by the honorable warrior and the strategist. This retrograde in Cancer has been going on for a while. Mars has been spending a bunch of time in Cancer. It's debilitated there. It's emotional, and you or experiencing other people can be sort of emotionally frustrated. It's the natural fourth house of the zodiac, home, family, Cancer. It's not a great place to have the Mars energy, and that's why Mars is debilitated. Mars wants to take action. Mars wants to get things done. Mars is not so concerned about the feelings of things, but has to it's, get into feelings and emotions, and that hasn't been comfortable for the Martian energy. Cancer is a particular house in your chart, and whatever house that might be, maybe it's your 7th house of intimate relationships if you're a Cancer rising. Maybe if you're a Virgo rising, that is your 11th house of groups, organizations, larger financial gains. And these are the places you could feel sort of emotionally frustrated. It's also been a great time for sort of unearthing the emotions you are frustrated with and doing the healing work around that. So hopefully you've been doing that and you still have time. But on the 21st, it is going to retrograde into Gemini, and it'll still be retrograde until February 23rd. Now, this will be a different energy, and we also had this energy with Mars in Gemini earlier this year, more in the summer, fall time. And so when it goes into the air sign of Gemini, now we're talking, this is Mercury and Mars are not the best of friends. And what this brings up is a lot of sharing of ideas and brainstorming. That's great, but it could feel kind of scattered. The strategist is really the energy here for Mars, and it's important that you stay very grounded. Now, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, I always tell us to work with this Martian energy in being grounded. Get into your physical body. Be disciplined with your spiritual practice. That's what mitigates this energy. Be careful of overanalyzing things. It's fine to want to research. It's fine to share ideas, but also be careful of sort of argumentative energy, knee-jerk reactions. That's very much Mars in Gemini. And you may not feel like you can take practical action on the ideas that are coming until Mars goes direct on February 23rd. It'll be in Gemini until April 2nd. So we'll be talking about this energy. So the big thing to remember is avoid arguments. If you're going to share ideas, try to get curious and creative about it. Stay grounded, physically grounded, okay? And whatever your spiritual practice is. And also with this energy, just remember to slow down. Mars wants it all done yesterday. Mars is impatient. So slow down and get present, okay? And if you are looking at sharing, like this is kind of, can be like debate energy too, which is fine with really good boundaries, but also that can get out of control pretty quickly. So just really be aware of that. The Sun and Pluto will conjunct on January 22nd. And in Vedic astrology, I'm looking at the outer planets when they are moving signs, when they're conjuncting other important planets. What I can say about this is an energy, and this will happen in Capricorn, this is an energy that we just might see something big happen, sort of either politically or on the corporate level. And so just be aware of that. It's a moment in time, but it is a conjunction and with Pluto, and Pluto tends to is very cathartic. And tends to bring on things really quickly. Mercury transits Capricorn January 24th through February 10th. And this is also a great transit for Mercury. And again, all Mercury's archetypes, the communicator, the messenger, and the merchant. And I didn't really talk about the whole merchant energy with Mercury in Sagittarius, but also in Capricorn, it very much so. It's like it's for you entrepreneurs, for you in business, career, focused on success. This is going to be super useful for business moving. So the ideas that are coming, the inspiration that's been coming while it's in Sagittarius through the first 20 days of, January 4th through the 24th. Now, once it gets to Capricorn, it's time to get into some of the grounded structure around those ideas, move some of your projects forward, get these things around your business, you entrepreneurs, you get these things structured and start to move things in the world. Now, remember, Capricorn is all Saturn sign. It's all about Saturn, our great administrator and our great organizer, being slow and being steady and build things to last. So Mercury brings a playful energy here and, brings a lot of communication. Mercury is a very young planet and is, childlike and playful. And then mixed with that approach of Saturn being really structured. And again, wherever this is hitting you, if you're a Sagittarius rising, this is your second house of money and values and domestic happiness. If you're a Scorpio rising, it is your third house, which is going to be communication. It's going to be media, brothers and sisters. For me, it's my fifth house. It's a place of creativity. It's a place of students. I have new ideas brewing, and I'll probably be bringing them out, or at least getting them structured during that time. So we can get serious about our long-term planning. But in that, I want to remind you to stay flexible, because we do have a lot of changes coming up, as I'll talk about in my 2025 update. And the way I like to create, so like when I wrote my book, Your Sacred Wealth Code, and I did the journal or the cards, the way I worked with this to get it structured to begin with, it's like structuring the chapters, like this outline, and then allowing it to fill in. I know where I'm starting. I know where I'm going. I have some concepts of how I'm going to get there, but not down to the nitty gritty. Okay. And so that's the way you're going to want to structure things, giving yourself a lot of room to move. It's like building a wide pathway as opposed to a really narrow one. Venus transits Pisces January 27th through May 31st. That's like a 4-month transit. And Venus does this when it retrogrades. It's exalted in Pisces. Again, this is the artist, the muse, and the connector. Very, very strong in Pisces. Now, Pisces, of course, is a very spiritual, transformational, devotional water sign. It's the end of the zodiac. It's where we want to sort of dissolve things. And this is going to be a little bit tricky, even though Venus is exalted here. So we get uplifted because Jupiter in Taurus and Venus in Pisces are going to exchange, so to speak, in a Parivatana Yoga, which uplifts them both. That's great. The other part of this that's interesting is that Rahu, the north node of the moon, the magician in the archetype system, is still in Pisces during this time, and Saturn will be entering at the end of March into Pisces. So again, I'm not going to get too far ahead. I talk about this all in the 2025 update. I will be breaking this down as we come to it, but it's exalted. So it's really good for that beauty, that connection with self, source, others, just, really connecting in creative. It's great for artistic endeavors. It really brings our focus to love and relationship. And it's a very deep, wise placement. So it's not superficial relationship. We're able to connect in with the higher potential, and we see it in other people, but we must be careful to be truthful with ourselves about other people's potential in relationship, especially us women, where we see a potential in the partner, and that's what we fall in love with, and we forget to look at who's actually there, and then we're disappointed later on when the potential doesn't actualize. Let's be real. We have to be real with people, okay, and real with ourselves. We want to see people for who they are and not who. We need to be realistic. Your artwork can really shine during this time. Really shine. You're going to want to connect in. Be careful of being codependent. Venus gets very attached. It's a planet definitely of attachment. That's not a bad thing. If we didn't feel attached to our homes, our partners, our children, our pets, we wouldn't do what it takes to nurture and take care of. But we don't want to be overly attached, because then we are not allowing things to evolve. It gets very, very messy, and we get very stuck and usually get very hurt and hurt other people. So just watch out for your attachments, okay? There's a lot of changes ahead. We have the grace of Jupiter and Venus in exchange. We have the grace of Venus being exalted during this time, but we also have some trickiness with the way the transits are going to run during this time. So look at where Pisces is in your chart, and it's the natural 12th house of the zodiac, the release, the relinquishment of things. It's that place of dissolution. But be very, very careful with that area of life, because there's a lot that's going to be changing there. Whether you Pisces ascendants, there's a lot that's shifting for you. So you're going to need to stay really, really grounded. Again, if I'm going to do a personal reading with you, I'm going to work with you on all of this. And then, I want to say too, my private clients, I unpack this over 6 months or a whole year's period of time as I'm guiding you through this every step of the way. And if you're interested in that level of mentorship, which is a much higher level of mentorship, and I only take a few private clients on a year, I am opening up my private clientele, and I do have room for a couple of you who really want to elevate to the next level of success that's really designed for you in your soul blueprint, and really here to make that difference that you're here to make in balance with the whole of your life. We have a new moon in Capricorn in Shravana on January 29th. It's at 16 degrees. I will bring you an update for this. Now, the sun and the moon are together during a new moon and will be in Capricorn, that very grounded sign which we talked about. Saturn owns this placement of structure. Shravana is like that which is heard. It's this divine ear, divine listening. And we are going to really experience a new beginning in this part of the zodiac and whatever Shravana is for us. And that's wherever Capricorn is in your chart. And I will be again doing an update on this new moon, and in fact in my Sacred Wealth Collective, which is $110 a month, and we do 3 live calls. I do a new moon teaching update / teaching an actual what's the theme of the month. Actually, we just did ours for the month of, we have the new moon at the new moons are happening at the very end of the month, so we did it for January on December 30th, and really got into how it's so incredibly important to connect in with the purpose of the things that we are doing, the things we want to create in order to have it pull us forward. It's that big why behind everything. So anyway, we get into that, and we do a training, and I have lots of resources in my member site for you. If you want to check that out, the link is down below for that. But we also do a Q&A live every month, and we also do the Healing Circle as part of that. The very end of the month also, we have on the 30th, Uranus, our great awakener. It brings on things unexpectedly, is happening on the 30th. It's at 29 degrees of Aries. It's been going right back and forth in its retrograde between Aries and Taurus over the last few months, and now it'll finally shift into Taurus for good. And so this shift here will bring on some unexpected changes, particularly if you have planets at 29 of Aries or Libra. That's where that axis is gonna hit there. So just keep that in mind as well. And I want to just thank you so much. If you have any questions, please leave them for me. Tell me what's up for you. What are you creating in January? What's important to you? Or what are you finding you're just not so clear about yet? Come and join me for my 2025 forecast class, or grab the replay of that. That will be available. It's only $55. If you want me to dive into your chart and really decode everything for you, the links are down below. I'll be running the 30% off for the 2025 Divinely Aligned personal readings, and that will be through January. All right. So much love to you, and I look forward to an amazing year with you.